I want to ask you something. When's the last time you weren't busy? And give it a little thought. For the last 6 years, I've been pretty busy. I've been dreaming up wild ideas and turning them into real-life projects through my art business, Short Supply. Anytime I haven't been doing that, I've spent helping other artists do the same. There were a few holidays in there as well. This is me in my beautiful favourite Hawaiian shirt. Surely you all have one. My wife is incredibly patient, and honestly, if we hadn't founded the business together, let's just say we might be having very different conversations at home. But really, all of my work is about one thing: imagination. Imagination is our power as creatives, the ability to picture a different world and sometimes try it on for size in real time. But here's the thing: imagination isn't just for artists. Today, I want to challenge everything you thought you knew about imagination. I want to show you that imagination isn't a luxury, but a survival skill. And if we want real change, we have to protect and practice it like our lives depend on it. So here's a stat for you. Nearly 9 in 10 UK workers feel disengaged at work. That's almost 70% of the UK population. These kind of numbers point to one thing: tens of millions of people feeling stuck, burnt out, and fed up in their day-to-day lives. And is it any wonder why so many of us feel this way? We're buried in bureaucracy, flattened by platform logic, trapped in systems that treat us like data points. We're still clinging to the same limited imaginations that built these systems in the first place. Which begs the question: are we too busy to imagine a better future? Ultimately, we've been trained by our current system to prioritize productivity over possibility. That's called convergent thinking, the part of us that makes decisions, solves problems, and gets things done. It's the kind of thinking we're taught to prepare us for the real world. But when we live there all the time, it starts to kill off our capacity for divergent thinking, the kind that explores, imagines, and plays. That imbalance fuels the boredom, burnout, and dissatisfaction that so many of us are familiar with. Our society rarely offers places for meaning-making, and it's hard to believe that your work matters, that you're part of the solution, when everything around you says, stay in line. And for me, that's where creativity comes in. Because the system won't change unless we can imagine something different first. So, as I said, I'm an artist and I run an organisation for artists. My business, Short Supply, was born in the scrappy north, where we are right now. Artist-led exhibitions in empty shops, zines left in cafes, fly posting on cold nights. Do not tell anyone. That scene taught me one truth: do it before you're ready. And yet today, with all the tutorials, templates, and toolkits at our fingertips, I see less action, more paralysis. People binge content, build beautiful Notion boards, watch productivity gurus on YouTube, and still struggle to start. We've got information overload, but shaky self-belief. That's not just a tech problem. That's an imagination problem. Imagination is what fuels divergent thinking. It's the mindset that asks, what if we tried something we've never tried before? What if we did this a little differently? Growing up, I was taught that imagination was a luxury, something you grow out of, especially if you're working class, queer, or don't fit the brochure for whatever reason. The message was clear: be serious, graft, and survive. But really, all that mindset taught me was how to shrink to fit, how to perform, say the right things, pass the test, play the system's game. We're taught that systems keep us safe, but what are these systems really? An education system that rewards obedience over originality. A social media system that punishes inconsistency and imperfection. Corporations that keep us consuming instead of creating. These systems give us patterns to follow, and if you follow long enough, you start to behave like a machine. No freedom, just survival. And eventually, if you can't break the pattern, you burn out. My game happened to be the art world, but that game exists everywhere. Last year, playing the game landed me what the system would have called a good job. This year, I quit because I realized I was trying to thrive inside a system which was never designed with me in mind. My imagination kept bumping into the system's walls. I had to shift gears to not only ask what was realistic, but to also ask what was possible. I imagined a different kind of career, a different kind of day, and a different way to be. And from there, I could start to see a more hopeful way forward. But perhaps the most frustrating thing about these systems is they're not broken. They're working as designed to sustain themselves first. And worst of all, we've been trained to believe we need them, to believe our work only matters if it's validated from outside, if someone lets us in. Because if you can't imagine your idea having value, why would you build it? But here's what I've learned. Value isn't a fact. It's a feeling. And it shifts based on who's holding the cards. We talk about success like it's a formula, but it's not. It's more like a lottery. And personally, I don't take inspiration from lottery winners. I take inspiration from builders, from people who know how to make something from nothing, who know how to share what they've learned. Because chasing external validation keeps you running in circles. And the system, it'll give you just enough to keep you hungry, but never quite full. But you don't have to wait to be chosen. You can choose yourself. So the only question now is how? Well, many of us live in a state of chronic convergence, always narrowing, analysing, perfecting. So how do you learn to trust your imagination again when the system has told you not to? Imagination isn't just dreaming. It's how we build. It's a practice, a mindset, and a muscle. You should see me under this jacket. So here are some practical ways that you can use to integrate imagination back into your life again and start building the muscle back up. Make time and space for it. Schedule space for divergent thinking. Time when you don't need to perfect or produce anything. No goals, no metrics, just possibility. Let your mind wander to places it usually doesn't. Science also backs taking a practical action. Even just a few minutes of movement, like climbing the stairs, for example, measurably increases divergent thinking, according to neuroscience-backed studies. So draw something, write something, take a walk, explore a new environment, make space in your life for new actions. Be bolder and ask questions. Imagination doesn't have to be practical at first. Divergence always comes before convergence. Your job is to stretch the boundaries before deciding what's feasible. And keep going. Even the smallest acts of imagination matter. For example, you might want to tweak your morning routine, or you might want to try going to a new kind of event. Every time you give space to divergent thinking, you're counteracting the pull of convergence. Balancing both modes, divergent and convergent, is part of being a healthy, creative human. We need time to imagine possibilities, not just execute plans. It doesn't have to be big, it just has to be different. And it's easy to slip back into convergence, back into performance, perfectionism, logic. But imagination is a muscle. No. So keep at it. All right, really quickly, play along with me. Look around you. Find any everyday object. Could be your phone, could be your pen, could be someone's tote bag. Now, come up with the most wildly imaginative, totally non-useful use for it you can think of. Take 10 seconds to do this, and I will count you down. Once you've got your idea, turn to someone next to you and share it, and I want to hear you all saying it out loud, yeah? No justifying, just say it. Are you ready? Ready? Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. All right, pipe down, you lot. In doing that small activity, you guys have just imagined a world outside of the rules. What if you did that a little bit more every single day? Imagination is political. Who gets to dream? Who gets to build? That is where change begins. Too often, creativity is framed as a tool for optimization, for making ourselves more productive, building the most impressive business, or curating the perfect personal brand. But when creativity is reduced to a hack for winning in a broken system, we lose sight of its deeper purpose. Because the fact is, those outcomes are never equally available to everyone. So instead, let's focus on what can't be taken from us. What is universal? What's ancient? The ability to imagine. Liberation doesn't happen alone. We have to dream it together, build it together, like our lives depend on it, because they do. We're not only here to be productive cogs in someone else's system. We're here to make meaning, to take up space, to imagine louder than the limits placed on us. Imagination isn't a luxury, it's survival. Our ancestors lived because they dreamed. We're here because they refused to stop imagining. And the systems we live in now, they want you to walk a loop. Eyes down. Number one only. But that path circles back to nowhere. We need people bold enough to imagine, brave enough to build. Divergence and convergence hand in hand. Otherwise, we stagnate. Otherwise, we repeat. The world doesn't change when we follow the instructions. It changes when we break the script, when someone dares to imagine and then makes it real. That's not a daydream. That's a blueprint, a protest, a way out. So the next time you're endlessly scrolling, or stuck in traffic, or grinding for a raise, or arguing with a stranger, interrupt the present. Invent the future. Change isn't somewhere out there on the horizon. It starts here. It starts with us. So let's get busy imagining what our future could look like and get out and make it real. Thank you.